Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. I wanted to make a video today about anger and confrontation in the Christian life and whether there's a place for that or not. This video idea comes from the application section of our Numbers chapter 25 5-minute Bible study. But in case you haven't seen that, you'll get the application here. So in Numbers chapter 25, there's an event that happens in the camp of the Israelites. The Israelites were only supposed to worship the one God who had delivered them from Egyptian slavery. But there's a couple in the camp, a man and a woman, who are participating in idolatry, and they're doing this evidently in the sight of all of the camp. They just don't care. They don't care who sees it, right? And this becomes it comes to the attention of one of the priests. The priest's name is Phineas, and Phineas is so angry that this couple would disrespect God in this way that he takes a spear and he goes to the man's tent and he kills the man and the woman who were participating in idolatry. And one thing that's really interesting is that in the text, the next 5 verses are a blessing that God gives to Phineas because Phineas was jealous for the honor of God. He had a great zeal that it was only God who was worthy of worship, and anyone else who was leading other people astray needed to be stopped immediately. And so how do we apply this story in the modern day? Obviously, Jesus doesn't condone killing people with spears who aren't doing his will, right? But Jesus does give us some other patterns that somewhat relate to this that I think we need to take into account and consider how we can apply. I think one thing that we can learn from this story and many others in the Bible is that it's right to be angry about people who disrespect God, right? That can be a righteous anger, especially when that disrespect is done by people who should know better, like this Israelite man who was participating in this. There is a place in the Christian life for anger and occasionally for confrontation. And I think this is important to point out because in our culture, especially in our Christian culture, we tend to stress the virtues of gentleness and the virtues of kindness. And I suspect that, well, obviously those are good things, but I suspect that our emphasis on those virtues has led some to believe that an angry Christian is an unloving Christian, and that isn't necessarily true. Anger and bold confrontation can be Christian virtues in themselves if they are motivated by a zeal for the holiness of God. No one shows this better than Jesus himself when he entered the temple and he overturned the tables of those who were exploiting a holy place to extort people for personal gain. And if you don't know that story, you can read it in Matthew chapter 21 and verse 12. So in a culture that constantly emphasizes that Christians are loving, kind, gentle, humble, yes, that's true. All of those things should be true. Jesus was all of those things. But there was also a place in his life, and there ought to be a place in our life for righteous anger and righteous confrontation because we care about the respect and the honor that's due to God.